Hello from the small window on your screen. This is Adam Turtletail from the Healthcare Compliance Association. I'm happy to say that joining me on the large window is Cam Marston from Generational Insights. Cam will be speaking April 19th at the 2016 Compliance Institute in Las Vegas, Nevada. Cam, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Happy to do it. Looking forward to seeing you in April.
As am I. And I'm really looking forward to your talk. You're going to address the idea that there are four generations in the workplace. Can you briefly recap what those four generations are?
Four generations. We'll go oldest to youngest. The oldest, the senior, called the matures, also called the GI, the silent generation, born before 1946. 1946 to 1964, the baby boomers, the leaders in most workplaces today, very influential, not going anywhere anytime soon, entering retirement ages with historic amounts of mortgage debt, causing some consternation in the workplace. Very much a consensus builder generation to work with. Following them is Generation X, born between 1965 and 1979, entering more and more leadership and management positions. Unique characteristics in the way they engage their teams, something that I'll spend time talking about. Following Generation X are the millennials, also known as Gen Y, born between the years 1980 to 2000. They're the most populous generation, single generation in the workplace today. They're the ones you read about the most. They're the ones that are getting certainly the most media attention about their needs and their demands, their behaviors in the workplace. And incidentally, following them is the next one called the I-Gen. Their oldest ages, they're still teenagers, but they're getting of the ages that they are having summer jobs. A client of mine uses them as baggers for grocery stores. Not a lot of information available about them, but we're keeping an eye on them. They're called the I-Gen.
So is there a gap between these generations of both, or is it just a sliver of difference?
There is, well, it depends on the subject matter. There are some where there is indeed a sliver of difference, one of which would be something like working from home or workplace flexibility. Every generation would want it. Some generations don't expect it. Others generations, particularly the younger ones, enter the workplace thinking that that's kind of what the workplace looks like today, is that flexible workplace, work hours, etc. Around leadership, there's a gap. And I talked to you a little bit about the Generation X management style. Where one of the gaps exists, the big difference is that often the Generation X manager leads by leaving the team alone, by being an aloof and a distant manager. Their attitude is, I'm going to leave you alone and let you do your job. I'm not going to micromanage you. I'm not going to hover over you. We're going to eliminate all but the most necessary meetings. And while the Xers sees this as a favor being offered to the team, the boomers and the millennials, which we know are very herd instinctive. They're kind of a consensus building group for different reasons, which we'll get into. But they need to be brought together. They need to be, team to them has a lot of eye contact to do with it. So there's a gap between that Generation X management style and the others that they're managing. So some there are indeed a sliver, others there are very real gaps.
So I don't want to give too much away what you're going to talk about it, but is there a quick tip you can give people now to start thinking about how they can start addressing some of these issues?
I think the thing that to best prepare for my presentation, what I want them to do is start looking around their own workplace and noticing behaviors consistent amongst people about the same age. All those generational age ranges that I gave a moment ago. Start looking for consistent behaviors for people in those ages. The millennials' demands or insistences on full and free and open communications amongst everybody in the organization. The baby boomers' demands for bringing people together to build consensus, putting everybody on the same page, one of the little things that I find so interesting about the baby boomers. And the Generation Xers' distant management style. Start looking for these things. Notice these consistencies amongst age, and then I'll put some context on them to prepare. And I'll give them some very simple tips, some things to do. One of the things that we know about the millennials, for example, is they're eager for feedback, lots of feedback, but it needs to be given in a 2-to-1 positive to corrective ratio, no negative, but positive to corrective, 2-to-1, and some would say 3-to-1. And when they get it that way, they're much more likely to respond enthusiastically and make the changes.
Sounds really interesting, and once again, very much looking forward to having you join us and having those of you watching join us. for what's going to be a very provocative and I know fun conversation on April 19th in Las Vegas, Nevada at the 2016 Compliance Institute. I'm Adam Turtletop saying thank you, Kim, for joining us, and thank all of you for watching, and see you soon.